Chapter 9. And God went on to bless Noah and his sons, and to say to them, Be fruitful, and become many, and fill the earth. And a fear of you and a terror of you will continue upon every living creature of the earth, and upon every flying creature of the heavens, upon everything that goes moving on the ground, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand they are now given. Every moving animal that is alive may serve as food for you. As in the case of green vegetation, I do give it all to you. Only flesh with its soul, its blood, you must not eat. And besides that, your blood of your souls shall I ask back. From the hand of every living creature shall I ask it back. And from the hand of man, from the hand of each one who is his brother, shall I ask back the soul of man. Anyone shedding man's blood, by man will his own blood be shed, for in God's image he made man. And as for you men, be fruitful and become many, make the earth swarm with you, and become many in it. And God went on to say to Noah and to his sons with him, And as for me, here I am establishing my covenant with you men, and with your offspring after you, and with every living soul that is with you, among fowls, among beasts, and among all living creatures of the earth with you, from all those going out of the ark to every living creature of the earth. Yes, I do establish my covenant with you. No more will all flesh be cut off by waters of a deluge, and no more will there occur a deluge to bring the earth to ruin. And God added, This is the sign of the covenant that I am giving between me and you, and every living soul that is with you, for the generations to time indefinite. My rainbow I do give in the cloud, and it must serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. And it shall occur that when I bring a cloud over the earth, then the rainbow will certainly appear in the cloud. And I shall certainly remember my covenant, which is between me and you, and every living soul among all flesh. And no more will the waters become a deluge to bring all flesh to ruin. And the rainbow must occur in the cloud, and I shall certainly see it, to remember the covenant to time indefinite between God and every living soul among all flesh that is upon the earth. And God repeated to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant that I do establish between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. And Noah's sons who came out of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth. Later, Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were Noah's sons, and from these was all the earth's population spread abroad. Now Noah started off as a farmer, and proceeded to plant a vineyard. And he began drinking of the wine, and became intoxicated, and so he uncovered himself in the midst of his tent. Later, Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness, and went telling it to his two brothers outside. At that, Shem and Japheth took a mantle, and put it upon both their shoulders, and walked in backwards. Thus they covered their father's nakedness, while their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. Finally Noah awoke from his wine, and got to know what his youngest son had done to him. At this he said, Cursed be Canaan. Let him become the lowest slave to his brothers. And he added, Blessed be Jehovah, Shem's God, and let Canaan become a slave to him. Let God grant ample space to Japheth, and let him reside in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan become a slave to him also. And Noah continued to live 350 years after the deluge. So all the days of Noah amounted to 950 years, and he died. Chapter 10. And this is the history of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now sons began to be born to them after the deluge. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan were Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the population of the isles of the nations was spread about in their lands, each according to its tongue, according to their families, by their nations. And the sons of Ham were Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush were Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Reamah, and Sabteka. And the sons of Reamah were Sheba and Dedan. And Cush became father to Nimrod. He made the start in becoming a mighty one in the earth. He displayed himself a mighty hunter in opposition to Jehovah. That is why there is a saying, just like Nimrod, a mighty hunter in opposition to Jehovah. And the beginning of his kingdom came to be Babel and Erech and Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Out of that land he went forth into Assyria, and set himself to building Nineveh, and Rehoboth-ir, and Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah. This is the great city. And Mizraim became father to Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, from among whom the Philistines went forth, and Caphtorim. And Canaan became father to Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterward the families of the Canaanite were scattered. So the boundary of the Canaanite came to be from Sidon as far as Gerar near Gaza, as far as Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim near Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to their tongues, in their lands by their nations. And to Shem, the forefather of all the sons of Eber, the brother of Japheth the oldest, there was also progeny born. The sons of Shem were Elam, and Asshur, and Arpachshad, and Lud, and Aram. And the sons of Aram were Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Arpachshad became father to Shelah, and Shelah became father to Eber. And to Eber there were two sons born. The name of the one was Peleg, because in his days the earth was divided, and the name of his brother was Joktan. And Joktan became father to Almodad, and Sheleph, and Hazarmaveth, and Jerah, and Hadoram, and Usal, and Diklah, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. And their place of dwelling came to extend from Mesha as far as Sephar, the mountainous region of the east. These were the sons of Shem according to their families, according to their tongues in their lands, according to their nations. These were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their family descents, by their nations, and from these the nations were spread about in the earth after the deluge. Chapter 11. Now all the earth continued to be of one language and of one set of words. And it came about that in their journeying eastward, they eventually discovered a valley plain in the land of Shinar, and they took up dwelling there. And they began to say, each one to the other, "Come on, "Let us make bricks and bake them with a burning process." So brick served as stone for them, but bitumen served as mortar for them. They now said, "Come on, let us build ourselves a city, and also a tower with its top in the heavens. And let us make a celebrated name for ourselves, for fear we may be scattered over all the surface of the earth." And Jehovah proceeded to go down to see the city and the tower that the sons of men had built. After that Jehovah said, "Look, they are one people, and there is one language for them all, and this is what they start to do. Why, now there is nothing that they may have in mind to do that will be unattainable for them. Come now, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not listen to one another's language." Accordingly Jehovah scattered them from there over all the surface of the earth, and they gradually left off building the city. That is why its name was called Babel, because there Jehovah had confused the language of all the earth, and Jehovah had scattered them from there over all the surface of the earth. This is the history of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he became father to Arpachshad 2 years after the deluge. And after his fathering Arpachshad, Shem continued to live 500 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years. Then he became father to Shelah. And after his fathering Shelah, Arpachshad continued to live 403 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years. Then he became father to Eber. And after his fathering Eber, Shelah continued to live 403 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Eber lived on for 34 years. Then he became father to Peleg. And after his fathering Peleg, Eber continued to live 430 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Peleg lived on for 30 years. Then he became father to Reu. And after his fathering Reu, Peleg continued to live 209 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Reu lived on for 32 years. Then he became father to Serug. And after his fathering Serug, Reu continued to live 207 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Serug lived on for 30 years. Then he became father to Nahor. And after his fathering Nahor, Serug continued to live 200 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Nahor lived on for 29 years. Then he became father to Terah. And after his fathering Terah, Nahor continued to live 119 years. Meanwhile, he became father to sons and daughters. And Terah lived on for 70 years, after which he became father to Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the history of Terah. Terah became father to Abram, Nahor, and Haran became father to Lot. Later Haran died while in company with Terah his father in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor proceeded to take wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, while the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and father of Iscah. But Sarai continued to be barren. She had no child. After that, Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, the wife of Abram his son, and they went with him out of Ur of the Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. In time they came to Haran and took up dwelling there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years. Then Terah died in Haran.